Welcome. Xander Holt here, the primal sex expert. And today I'm going to talk about 7 natural, effective ways to lower estrogen levels in men. And this is critical if you want to have a high sex drive, rock hard erections, and optimal testosterone levels. Because in today's modern society, estrogen levels are high in almost all men. It's got to be somewhere in the 90% range. And that's because of these very, very potent modern day alpha inhibitors that we go into great depth in the Rock Hard for Life formula. We have to deal with these modern day alpha inhibitors. Things that our fathers and grandfathers never had to deal with. But they are tanking our testosterone levels, our erections, our libido. And we're going to talk about some of that today. And we're going to start with, well, first of all, I want you to realize that estrogen is essential in the male body, but just a little bit. We get it from foods and such. Naturally, we need some estrogen for our heart health, our brain health, and our bone health. But we have way too much estrogen in our systems today, and that's mostly this synthetic estrogen. But let's start here first on what we need to do. These 7 tips. Number 1, lowering body fat, particularly belly fat. Now, I've talked about this a number of times, but it's important to realize that belly fat creates a lot of what's called aromatase enzyme. And this enzyme is nasty stuff. It converts our precious free testosterone into estrogen. And belly fat itself secretes and stores estrogen. It's like a gland that secretes it. And so if you're boosting your testosterone and you've got a lot of belly fat, it's just a lot of it's going to get converted into estrogen. So the number one thing you need to deal with to lower estrogen is lower body fat, particularly belly fat. And I go into that in other videos like intermittent fasting and various foods you can eat and all that kind of stuff. So watch those videos. Get the belly fat down. We're going to talk about several things. Cruciferous vegetables, okay? Really great for lowering your aromatase enzymes, such as cauliflower, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, kale. And then there's mushrooms. I talked about that in the last video. Really effective aromatase enzyme inhibitor. Just make sure you cook them, and then you can eat as many as you want. It helps you lower that. And then there's supplements. Those essential testosterone supplements are the most important that we've talked about before. Watch those videos as well. Vitamin D3, K2, zinc and magnesium, as well as boron. These are all really effective in lowering your estrogen levels and lowering that aromatase enzyme. And then there's also herbs. One of the most effective being Tongkat Elite, which is right here in Afro-D, which is what I take. It has several herbs in it that are great for your testosterone, lowering estrogen, and boosting erections. Really good stuff. So that's number 1. Number 2 is eliminating your exposure to these modern day endocrine disruptors, these chemicals, these very powerful chemicals that mimic estrogen. And particularly the chemicals that make contact with your skin or you ingest, like toothpaste. Number 1, you're putting it right in your mouth. You want toothpaste that don't have parabens in it, that are natural. I use a charcoal and coconut toothpaste here by Cali White. Really good stuff. No parabens whatsoever. None of that estrogen raising stuff. Soap's really important. I recommend just a natural baby soap. This is Dr. Bronner's baby soap. Very gentle, no endocrine disruptors in here. And shampoos also makes contact with your hair and your skin, can absorb in. You want a good shampoo. I like a Cure, I guess you call it. It's cheap and it doesn't have any parabens or any of those endocrine disruptors. And then the third thing we want to do is we want to separate our food and our water, our drink, from any kind of plastic. So when I drink my mineralized water, I use glass. If you're using plastic, even if it's BPA free, there's lots of chemicals that are leaching out into that. And they're still estrogen mimicking. And there's all kinds of stuff in there. We don't even know what it's doing yet. When they create a plastic bottle, that thing is secreting those chemicals for a year after it's made. And people are beverage manufacturers and stuff are putting stuff in it right away. They don't wait a year. So if you're drinking out of that, you're getting some endocrine disruptors. Use glass instead. And particularly if using plastic, never put it in a microwave. Okay, that'll leach that stuff out real quick. Don't heat anything up in plastic. And then we want to avoid processed PUFAs, polyunsaturated fats. And when I say processed, I mean vegetable oils, which would include vegetable oil, soybean oil, cottonseed oil, any of that kind of stuff. Corn oil, you don't want any of that. That will raise your estrogen. What you want to do is use things like extra virgin olive oil, pure extra virgin olive oil, coconut oil, grass-fed butter. Okay, these are great for your testosterone levels and won't raise your estrogen. All right, and then we want to avoid any kind of phytoestrogens or GMOs, like soybeans, for instance. Lots of estrogen in it, and they're heavily genetically modified. And also, we want to try and eat organic foods, because organic foods don't have the pesticides on them. And those pesticides are estrogen mimickers. And they build up in our body. The more we eat, the more they build up, the more the estrogen goes up. So eat organic as much as you can. And you want to avoid being sedentary. Okay, that doesn't necessarily mean you got to go to the gym all the time, but don't sit on your ass all day. It's really, really bad for your testosterone and helps raise estrogen levels. Make sure you're standing a good part of the day or sitting and standing a good part of the day. That'll do wonders for your erections and keeping estrogen lower. And last but not least is alcohol consumption. The more alcohol you drink, the more your estrogen goes up. So I wouldn't recommend drinking any more than 2 or 3 drinks a day. I don't drink hardly at all, but going anything over that, you're going to really spike those estrogen levels. So alcohol is a big culprit in that. All right, I hope you learned a lot from this video, got some good value out of it. Keep those estrogen levels low. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like this video, and share it with guys that you know would benefit from this. And if you are a guy, make sure you go to our free Facebook group, Rock Hard for Life, where you'll learn extensively about primal sex, lasting as long as you want, and having consistent, natural, stage 4, rock hard erections for life. Until next time, go be a beast.